I saved your life when
The day you're talking about.
I saved your life.
I was already well past. I had frostbite.
You said goodbye. You said goodbye.
I complimented you while you were trying to save me, which is something for us.
I know. We're never that nice. Listen to the story. So we go out duck hunting. It's
we told this story.
Did we? Well, 77 podcasts ago, and I know you want to hear it again. And we've got new listeners, Ryan, and they need this story.
Afterwards, there's
They're
this
calling for
crazy story about this big squirrel he has too.
That's a legit thing, and I resent anybody who doesn't believe my squirrel story. But the crowd, if the crowd wants the story, we'll give them the story, okay? And you can hear.
We'll play the hits.
There it is. There it is. There it is. So anyhow, Jeff and I go out duck hunting, and when we go duck hunting, it's the last day of the year that you're supposed to go because everything done froze over. But it wasn't completely froze over yet. There were some paths in the water to where we thought we could make it. So we go down this river, and we get there in our boat, and we set up our decoys in water, mind you. We put our decoys splash in water.
Average day, it gets warmer as the sun comes up and
You would
all
think
that kind
that.
of thing.
But average people also look at the weather, and we didn't, to be fair. So we get out there. It's in the dark still. We set up the decoys, get everything going. And
I've fallen in already at this point.
Yep. So after we got the decoys in, I've got nothing but swear words for you. But
Oh, yeah.
my good friend here, there, I'll go with that, falls in the water, and it's bitter cold. Well, as the sun came up, the half-hour time, everything froze over, and giant chunks of ice from downriver blew all the way in and interlocked us in. So we're like off of the river a little bit, but there's no land behind us. It's just marsh, so there's no walking in it. And we have the boat. We need to go in that direction over there, and the river's right in front of us here, and we got to go that way. So here, gonna go that way. I just don't know when the camera's
Do it
around
on
me.
the paper?
Now, yeah, I'll get the paper out. We need to go. The river is right here. We're right here. This is Sad Jeffrey right here, and we need to go over here. Okay. So, but here to here is 3.5 miles. So, and we've got a 5-horse motor to get us there. So he falls in. He's cold. He's like, well, let's just see it till first light. We'll try and shoot some ducks and we'll go in. Sun comes up. Decoys are in ice. They ain't in water anymore. Wow, that was a sentence.
The Indian water.
I got so Louisiana.
That was Louisiana.
Right. It's in my blood now. So we're stuck out there, and now we're sitting in a boat in ice, and there's no way to get to where we need to go. He's sitting there going, just shivering to death. And the only ducks come in. I go to lift up my gun. I'd never seen this in my life. I had a semi-automatic shotgun. I go to rack in the first shell, because I just had them in the the ones in the chamber. I couldn't, or not in the chamber, in the
magazine.
In the magazine, and I'm trying to pull it, but it's frozen solid, so I can't pull it. So I go to grab his gun. His gun, because he fell in the water, is frozen shut completely, and I can't even open it to get a shell in. Ducks land in the only little slice of water that's about the size of this sheet of paper right here, and they all land right there, looking at us. I can't do a thing about it. Not a thing. They get up on the ice and they're walking around our decoys. Big mallards.
Get out of the ice, stupid.
And I wasn't able to shoot any of them. So we gave up on the guns. I was a dark soul that day. So now I got to pick up the things. He starts going into straight up hypothermia. He goes, I'm actually starting to panic. And I was like, I don't even know how we're going to get in.
I'm sitting in a rubber suit that has ice water in it.
But that's on you. You chose to keep going.
Yeah, that's true.
That was the first
But we had
mistake.
also gone out however many miles. It's like
It's a 2-hour exploration to get to where we were, and then he
might
falls
as well
in.
kind of make it worth it.
How Jeffrey is that?
It's-
to go 2 miles and then fall in. I mean, I've done it too, but how Jeffrey is it on the day where we have ducks walk around our decoys to fall in once we get there? See, I would have fallen in on the way, complained a little bit, and kept going. He waits till we get there and then goes in, and then ice fills the
You're
river.
welcome.
So I've got to go pick up all the decoys, but that consists of me standing on that ice, falling through into waist deep, sometimes chest deep water.
Oh, yeah.
Stand on it, fall through. Takes me an hour to pick up the decoys. Then I got to drag the boat 6 inches at a time, a few miles. How many hours did it take?
We went out for the morning hunt and we got in by dark. It was dark
At
by the
night.
time
So
we got
the morning
in.
hunt means we went out there at about 5:30.
Yep.
So I dragged the boat 6 inches, get up on the ice, break through. Move the boat 6 inches. Get up on the ice, break through. Move the boat 6 inches. There was no way to do it with a paddle. There was no way to have the motor drive up on the ice and fall through. because it just wasn't quite heavy enough and the motor wasn't quite strong enough. The only thing that would move us forward is if I broke it with my elbow or got up on top of it, fell through, got water on me, but I'm sweating because I'm working so hard, even though it was negative 16.
It was very
Negative
very
16
cold.
is what I think it was. Pull at 16, and he's sitting in the boat, just literally, he's like, I think my hand's gone. I think there's no more hand over here. And he's like, and he goes, and you know how we are, we're always ruthless. I mean, you hear it on the podcast. He goes, I just want to tell you,
Am I moving my hand? Is it moving? I can't tell.
he goes to me, he goes, I just want you to know, I appreciate what you're doing right now. He just said that, and then
It's
he
the nicest thing I've ever said to him.
Don't do this now.
That's the nicest compliment he's ever gave. Didn't talk the rest of the trip, and it took me until dark to get us in. I was so hungry, and he was so jacked up that that was a.
What my question is,
What a
if it was
wash.
that bad, why didn't you just ditch the boat for the time being, drag it up into the woods, and then
Most of
walk
the
away?
river, there was no woods. I thought I used this. Here you go. Thick marsh where it's still chest deep water, but marsh and weeds mixed in,
All
so
around?
impossible to walk. And not only that, you'd be going the wrong direction. A river here that in the middle is 11 to 12 foot deep, unpassable, because you'd have to go underwater or swim to get across, because you couldn't get the boat to that. Then once you got the boat there, you're in that. But you got the boat there, what are you going to do? You can't drive the motor, you can't drive the boat, you can't do anything, and none of the ice is walkable. It's just open water, a deep river here, and then open water with ice covering it all over here. There's nowhere to go. I mean, we thought it through. Well, I did. He was just...
The negative temperatures has been
And then you're negative 16
questioned.
degrees on top of it.
Yeah.
So I'm just pulling it 6 inches at a time along the river until I had to cross it, which then, once I crossed it, I ended up taking on a ton of water and then had to drag it. Eventually, I think we got within a mile, and then it was open water from there where I could drive the boat, got in, and by the time I remember getting in the car, and we sat in the car for an hour with the heat on before we even tried to retrieve the boat out of the water, pull it out of we just had to warm up to get feeling back in every regard.
It's a bad day.
It's a good trip.